What's up? What's up? And welcome back to another market recap. It is April 9th, 2025. So interesting day. Very interesting day. I had one trade today. It was a micro time frame trade. So we'll look at that first. And it was roughly about 10 o'clock Central within that hour. Put it in rightfully right here. So a quick little CBO. I've been watching this Aussie pair most of the day since it kind of looked like it was starting to form this descending triangle on the 1 hour time frame. You know, had a good push up from the bottoms here, which we kind of talked about yesterday, which craziness because this completely blew up afterwards. But simple trade, clean break of a trend. You know, price is holding this trend on the 10 minute and the 2 minute. Clear breakdown, clear change of trend, coming back for a retest. So I was looking at this as like a wave 5 CBO. So wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Right? So I decided after the two losses I've had this week that were purely due to taking limit order trades, that at least for the remainder of the week, I'm going to focus on taking live entries just to try to, improve my strike rate a little bit here. I really don't, but I'd like to avoid going like -3 down per. So, but either way, so I waited for a live entry on this trade, which I was holding a nice trend even on the intradays on this 5-second chart. Price is slowly following this trend. It pushes past 0.382, hits about 0.5, and as it's retracing from 0.5, I was able to execute on a break of that trend line on a 5-second. So I didn't love my stop loss at this point, due to spreads and a little bit of slippage. It triggered me a little lower than I wanted to be at. Plus, I was already kind of pre-position sized. That's not the correct size. Fix that. I was already pre-position sized to enter like right at 0.382. So, which put my stop, pretty much above everything. I was still protected here, just it was a little tight for my liking, but thankfully it played out. Thankfully the levels held that I was after because it came up for this original push. I entered here and then obviously pushed again to 0.5. Still a little above the 0.5 level and the EMAs. So I'm still above everything that I usually try and position my stop to protect myself. The only thing I was kind of missing was the being above 0.618. But everything else was there. So price, kind of pushes up. As it's pushing up, I draw on the second trend line. It's following and following, following. At this point, it's also riding the 30-second 50 EMA. So normally I do P1 on the break of that EMA, but due to the fact that the break of that EMA is still technically in drawdown for this trade for me, and there was this clear trend drawn in, I decided to wait for, a clear break of that trend to go to P1. I got it roughly, a couple seconds later, broke down, went to P1. I clipped the highs here, right here at P1. And then price just kind of lollygagged for a second and then broke down again. On this second breakdown, we have essentially a retest of the 50 and then a follow through. So on this follow through, when it's kind of, clearly broken that previous other low, I went ahead and moved this to P2 and removed nearly all my risk off this position. Probably still had 0.1 or so on the table. And then I went super aggressive on my P3 here. Essentially, as soon as it kind of pushed down here, I had my finger over the button ready to lock in my 1-to-1. And so as soon as it started to push, I went ahead and moved to P3 just to be super aggressive with it. I figured it's either going to push even further and then maybe be fine, maybe go straight to target, or it's going to reverse and take me out for a 1. At this point, since I'm down negative 2R for the week, I already have a trade in front of me that's sitting at 1R. I want to do my best to try and capture that 1R that's in front of me. And yeah, so price quickly, retraced and then tapped me out for actually a little bit more than 1. So for 1.07 on that trade. And then from here, price pretty much reversed. So I don't think I could have played this trade really any better, other than maybe I would have been able to squeeze an additional 0.2, 0.3 out of it if I would have just used a limit order at 0.318. If I would have waited for the break of this second trend, I roughly would have been the same entry price on either one of those entries. So about the only way to squeeze more would have been to use a limit order. But after reviewing those 2 trades I've taken earlier this week of just like straight losses, neither one of those trades have been executed with a live entry. I'm used to live entries is what I've always done. It usually leads to a better strike rate. I decided to start using limit orders because I noticed myself missing trades when it comes to trading these 2-minute time frames, because they can pull back quickly, and that they don't always give you this kind of clear, break either of a trend. If this setup was on a daily time frame, this is a 1-hour run I'm targeting. I mean, this is a clear no-brainer of a trade. It's still a nice trade, worked out beautifully. I wish it could have gone to 2, but it is what it is. But yeah, so 1 trade for me for 1.07R. And then I was just kind of chilling most of the rest of the day. And shortly after that, as you can see, my trade was right here. I pretty much actually, ironically, if you look right here, this is my exit, and it's quite literally timed the exact bottom to where afterwards price just explodes from here. I mean, the market went crazy with the pause and some of these tariffs of some of the, max of the tariffs to just the 10% or so, whatever it is now. And pretty much destroyed everything else that I was watching. So once this kind of news kicked in, given the fact I'm already in profit for the day and I aim to, take a trade a day, I take my trade, I just called it quits for that New York session. Far as our last night daily watch list goes, the only main pairs we had, let's go to the daily time frame, was this dollar CAD and dollar PLN. Oh, that got weird. So we were talking about playing, let me just delete that. So we were talking about during the watch list that this was kind of like getting closer and closer to this EMA, and that I didn't really like the IBO play anymore since it pretty much already hit the target. But when it hits a target like this, you can play like a WTF, a wave 2 pullback play. I can't really trade this pair due to spreads, but I did look at it, and the position size would have fit. I mean, you could have entered something like that, a stop below 2-to-1 or so, but realistically, you'd want it to be before the EMA, a little tighter of a stop. So the stop may have been too tight, but if you're okay with stop clipping, could have done it, played out for a 2. So that position's pretty much played out. And then dollar CAD, it did give an entry. It gave a pretty nice entry, honestly. And I did not take this trade because I'm really not day trading, but I might be day trading tonight because there's a ton of nice setups and I need to make some money this week. Where are we at? Right here on the 5-second time frame. Pretty clean trade, honestly. you had this clear trend. So a break of that EMA, the break of that trend, there was an entry right there. If you kept the standard position sizing that we had at the beginning of the day, even though this is kind of pushed a little bit lower, you could have adjusted it. And you could have adjusted this to a little bit below 0.618. Something, say 23 pips. That works. 23 pips at that point, so we'd have a 46 pip target. You'd be chilling, and this trade would have played out at that point. I originally just kind of looked at this from the base position sizing, but with that kind of like pullback, you could have position sized a little tighter, and that would have allowed you to probably capture 1R on this trade, I'd say, because price would come up here, it'd pretty much tap your 1-to-1. It wouldn't really break the 50 yet, so technically you're still chilling here doing nothing. But if a trade goes to 1-to-1, I'm typically going to move it to break even. So this trade would be sitting at break even, price would retrace, almost tap you out, and then go back up again, push past the 1 right here, and as price is, sitting at this level, I'd pretty much go ahead and lock in the 1, and on this breakdown right here, it would take you out for 1. So this trade would have worked out for 1R or so if you tightened up the position. If you didn't tighten up the position, you just went with the standard position size, then it would have roughly been a break even, because you would have done P1 on the break of this kind of push here. So that break of the 50 would have pulled back, and on this second kind of push where it's testing the previous highs, also breaks the 50 again. At that point, I would go ahead and move a trade to break even. And on this retracement, it would have been taken out for break even on this trade with the standard position sizing from the beginning of the watch list. So 2 different results, just depending on how you position sized it. But it was a valid trade. It did play out. Both of these CAD pairs did, so that's cool. Euro pound. Oddly enough, I was watching this pair right as the news was coming out, and I was looking at entering this on a micro time frame play actually, and I had it position size something like this, but it's pretty tight. It was like 5 pips. Again, I'm like waiting for live entries, but then it pushes pretty high, and it's already kind of a little bit weird. I think it's valid still. Like, you could argue this is a wave 2 pullback, but also you could argue that that's a wave 2 pullback. So it could be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if that's the case, then trading this isn't what I go after, because I'm either usually trading wave 3 or wave 5 follow throughs. But if you don't count that as 1, then it's wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then this would be a wave 5. And that's kind of what ended up playing out, right? But either way, I'm still watching it. And then as I was watching it, it just started going haywire and completely broke down. It would have been really cool to catch that without a profit target set, because that would have been a monster of a position. I mean, it would have been a 20 to 1 probably. Wouldn't have really captured all this, right? But that would have been a monster of a position. But I never put on a trade without a profit target being set. So as soon as that trade would to go to break down that quickly, it would just trigger me out. Granted, it'd probably be some slippage in here, so I'd get a little bit more than 2. But I wouldn't capture all of this unless I pre-planned and didn't put a profit target in place. But when this started occurring, I sat there and watched it for a second, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to chill for the rest of the day. The ZAR pairs ended up doing what we were talking about, had this, all-time kind of previous high level right here, quite literally tapped it, and then just started reversing. And then today, get rid of replay here. Today, this is actually on watch now for a really nice IBO. There's a ton of pairs on watch. It's actually kind of hard to filter some of these because in any given day, I'd probably take most of these trades. We'll get into them here in a minute. I didn't really scan any exotics just because there's so many options with just the normal major and minor pairs without getting into the exotics and having to deal with those spreads. But even, you just look at these two Zara exotics and they're still really, really nice options. All right, let's get into the watch list. I'm gonna leave those Zars there just for giggles. Nothing really happened with that. Swiss knock in, pretty much the same as everything else. I already have knock flagged here. All right, let's try and figure out how we're going to group these things. So what do we got? Let's put these all together. Don't to. And then I need to go make sure I pull everything from here. So with the flags on these, the dark blue are considered like secondary pairs, and the bright blue is considered to be primary pairs. But I just went through and just quickly kind of just trying to do some filtering just to see what pairs, like this pair, for example, Aussie dollar, it's already sitting at a level. It's sitting at the 4 hour 50 or the 1 hour 200, right? So it's sitting at a level. When it pulls to retrace, it kind of already hit the target a little bit, even though this trade may still play out, or there might honestly be some short potential from a micro perspective. I didn't want to flag something like this primary when there's options like this where you have a clear break of trend, there's nothing in the way, it hasn't hit your target yet. So that's kind of the quick filtering I did here. So let's actually separate all the quickly filtered pairs into one section, and then let's see what kind of grouping we have here. So we have CAD. Start with CAD. Got some dollars. Dollar knock. Swiss. The rest are pound. So you have a Swiss group. Actually need more sections. And then we'll put the Swiss group right here. So we have a pound group, a CAD group, and a dollar group. All right. And then we have another dollar pair here, another dollar pair here, another pound pair, another Swiss pair, CAD pair, Euro Aussie. Looks like we have some yens. Aussie Kiwi. So this is like an Aussie Kiwi group and then a yen group. Let's see if we can. So I like dollar ZAR just from the daily level for sure. I would say that's primary. We're pushing off of a good level as well here. What I don't like is this trend line though. You always have to trade through levels, but if there's all these options, let's see if there's something better first. It's not bad. Dollar knock technically, I mean, I would prefer this EMA to be a little lower, but it's not really at it yet. Granted, it has touched it, but given the daily level and that we've been watching dollar knock for quite some time now, I've been looking for a retracement move after it kind of exploded earlier. I just don't. This doesn't look like it's going to fit. I don't think it's going to fit at all, actually. No. Not really. I mean, it's an option, but doesn't really fit the rules of going to one-to-one to the open and close prices. So we'll downrank dollar NOK. Kiwi dollar is sitting at resistance right now. Aussie dollar is also sitting at resistance right now. Where's Kiwi dollar? Oh, right there. Honestly, it seems like the nicest dollar pair is probably ZAR right now. I'd say that's primary. There's 1-to-1, there's 2-to-1 pretty easily. Something like that. We can go fix it a little later. Dollar Swiss. Just don't like the trend line. Dollar ZAR is a clear number one. Dollar Mexicans, probably number two. And then the rest of them I would entertain. Probably going to downrank that one. Put these in. Yeah, I'd honestly entertain all of these. If I just had to pick two, I'd probably pick dollar ZAR, dollar Mexican. But dollar ZAR by far is the number one. But I don't know what the spread's going to look like. So I have to pay attention to that. 1-to-1 easily, 2-to-1 easily. And if this trade doesn't pull back for some reason, it keeps running, then you also have like a WT opportunity off this level. You're going off a previous high over here. You're going to have the 50 and the 200 and S1. So not bad. Let's go ahead and flag that. Add an alert there. Cool. So the CAD group, let's see what we have here. Aussie CAD is going to be similar to Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar, but it's not sitting at the EMA for some resistance. As far as we had a level here, is it just... I mean, we're at a decent level here that's been respected in the past, kind of a low. So a good level to go long. So we have the DDP for sure. Just need a pullback. Someone's looking pretty good. Kiwi CAD, I'm going to assume is pretty similar. Yeah, it's at a pretty good level. It's been hit here, 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 here. It's had some large kind of moves from this level in the past. Good candlestick formation. Another decent option. Something like that. Position sized here. Something. Can't see. All right. Can easily get the 2-1. Cool. I like that. Aussie CAD. CAD Yen, daily wise, is sitting at a level, has clearly broken it here, but I mean, there's better options, so we'll downrank that one. Euro CAD, kind of similar thing. It's sitting at the 4-hour 200. Still kind of clearly broken this level. So it's, I mean, still tradable, still an option, but secondary. And CAD Swiss is also sitting at a level. So Kiwi CAD, Aussie CAD for the CAD pairs, I would say, as primaries. One to one, we can get a 2-to-1, so that EMA roughly is 67 pip. We 1340. I like it. Similarly, you still have WTF from this level. You have a WTF from roughly this level because the EMA will come down. There's a lot of options tonight. A lot of options. A clear break a trend, obviously. Similar to other stuff, it's sitting at, all-time lows. Clear IBO. Aussie Swiss is already kind of sitting at a level, so we'll downgrade that. Euro Swiss. What are we looking at here trend line wise? Something like this. So we've broken trend. Something like that. Long here. $38 pips. What is that going to be? 760. Yep. Cool. So all right, I like that. Kiwi, Swiss, almost kind of at a level. Let's say pound Swiss and euro Swiss are the two from the Swiss group for sure. Pound Swiss I've been watching for a while just because like it's been falling. And on the micro time frames, it's just been kind of like holding trend the whole way down. Something like that. 1, 2, so you're probably gonna go 950 here, 1900. Cool, so that's our Swiss group done. And then we have Euro Pound, Pound Aussie, Pound Kiwi, Pound Yen. Pound Yen's already sitting at a level. Still tradable. If there's nothing else, this is still something I'd entertain, but there's just better options right now. We got right here. I kind of break a trend. Fibs, pullback. Something along those lines, 1700, 3400, something like that. Gonna adjust these a little bit too, just putting some base ones. Looks good. Pound Aussie. Where is this? Good God. So much opportunity. Crazy if every day was like this. So an alert for there. Euro Pound's probably gonna be my favorite from this group, just because it's so overextended right here. It needs a pullback. I mean, most of the Euros, honestly, are kind of overextended. Or just had these massive moves over the past few days due to the tariff stuff. Interesting. 370, 600, 740. Oh, the position sizing is the same. It's also a decent WTF. Lord, we have alerts set everything. Everything's position sized. Set an alert on this guy. The only thing I don't like is this is kind of sitting at this EMA and this, already kind of here. Almost you could argue this is a pullback and go higher. I mean, granted, it's a clear lower low of this on both the 4 hour and 1 hour, which is nice. But the only thing that sketches me out a little bit about is this. But of the dollar group, it's probably the best. I'll leave it for now, but really primary is this dollars are. This is like a primary secondary for me kind of thing. But I like these other primaries. They're good. They're nice, solid trades. I take these all day long. So we'll just hope some stuff pulls back here. Some entries. Some of this stuff pulls back. I may even entertain taking more than one. I mean, it's halfway through the week. I'm still sitting at negative 0.9 or so for the week at the moment. So I need to make some profit. Well, cool. That's my watch list for tonight. And I'll also be watching some of these secondary pairs. I know like Aussie dollar, for instance, has the potential to be a pullback play, which looks like it's already kind of happening as we were building that watch list. That same kind of concept that we were talking about the other day, where it's like price kind of goes up in a triangle, it breaks down and then slowly retraces to the previous high and then goes short. I'm not really taking trades short from right here, but I keep watching this happen. And it seems to primarily be around kind of like large news events, like price explodes up, it kind of, squeezes up in the triangle, it breaks out just a little bit, but not fully, and then retraces close to previous highs, and then breaks down from there, usually. Which a breakdown from here would essentially give you the pullback you need to take this as a day trade and target that 1 hour run back up. So a lot of opportunity pretty much everywhere. But that's it for me, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. See you.